I want to discuss one thing, because usually what Pakistani mullahs do that goes unnoticed in in the international sphere. No one knows what they are talking about. There is a very popular Islamic cleric whose name is Mufti Tariq Masood. I think, he has the biggest following on YouTube in Pakistan, and he goes to electronic media from time to time. He's there on the TV stations as well. So this guy was discussing a few things about Islam that are there. We know those things, and it has been there. And so the one thing that he discussed was that, let's say there is a Muslim man and he has a girlfriend, and he has sex with her, and she becomes pregnant, and they are not married. So when she becomes pregnant and they learn of the pregnancy, then they get married. And when they get married, basically, according to Islam, the child that was who whose conception happened before the nikah is basically an illegitimate child, and that child would not be considered a child of this father. So, and that child would not get any kind of inheritance from this father even, and this father cannot give him that child his name, and the child would only belong to the woman who gave birth to him. So this is what this mullah was saying. So we have seen here and there a few fatwas which say that if a man has an illegitimate daughter, he can even marry her. There are a few muftis who have given such kind of fatwas. But according to the reasoning that Mufti Tariq Masood had provided, we can see that this reasoning does apply to these fatwas, where it is said that a man can marry his own illegitimate daughter if she is born without the bond of nikah between him and the mother of that child. So this can happen. But so this is one side of reasoning that this mullah presents. But there is another side of reasoning, a totally separate case that absolutely clashes with this case. What is that case? So in one of his other videos that was also in Urdu, I cannot play his videos because because of the copyright problem. So in the other video, what he was saying was that, let's say a man and a woman get married or do nikah on the phone. The woman is in Pakistan, the man is in USA, the nikah happens on the phone, and the nikah just happens, and now they are husband and wife, but they don't meet for a very long time. They don't meet at all. And after a few months, it is discovered that the woman is pregnant. Now, this child would be considered the child of that man because he was born to his wife. So he says, according to the very famous book Bahishti Zevar, written by one of the very famous mullahs in the Indo-Pak subcontinent, according to someone had basically asked Mufti Tariq Masood that Bahishti Zevar has mentioned such a problem, and according to Bahishti Zevar, it is said that the child would belong to the man in whose nikah that woman is, or whose wife that woman is. But the problem is this man and this woman have never met with one another. So still the child would belong to that man, and if the woman, because the woman would have definitely had sex with someone else, so the adulterer who did adultery with this woman would not be allowed to given the parentage of this child, and that would be the punishment of that adulterer. So the next problem is, like, he says that if the man wants to deny such a child, then he would have to go to the court, or he would have to present 4 witnesses at first. If he has 4 witnesses, then what will happen is that this woman would be stoned to death, and the next thing would be he would be and the child would be considered an illegitimate child. The other thing would be that if he does not have four witnesses who have witnessed the intercourse that proves that this woman has committed adultery with some other man, so the next thing would be he would go before a qazi in the Islamic court, and he would, make five curses on himself, saying that if I'm lying, this should happen to me. If I'm lying, this should happen to me. Five different kind of curses, and the woman should do the same. So he would say that she has committed adultery, and he would curse himself five times, and the woman would say that I have not committed adultery, and she would put a curse on her five times. And if the man and woman both curse themselves and deny the charges that have been put against them, so then the child will belong only to the mother, not to the father. But let's say the woman confesses that she has committed adultery with someone, then she would be stoned to death. That would be her punishment. But let's say if the man does not want to punish his wife, and he does not go to the qazi and does not do anything, then that child would belong to this man. And he would be considered his child, and he would also get inheritance from him, and everything will happen like that. So here, a child that is not even this man's child can be considered his child, but in the earlier case, the child that is truly biologically their child cannot be considered the child of that man. So that's the kind of dichotomy that exists in the Islamic Sharia, and that is the kind of stupidity that we see all the time. And this is the illogical thing here. So let's say there is such a situation where someone becomes pregnant before the nikah, and people later on, get married, and they want to, raise the child which is biologically theirs as their child. Islam does not allow that. But on the other hand, Islam allows a woman who has an illegitimate child to be, that child to belong to a father that is not their father. So, and it complicates the things. It puts this harsh punishment for adultery in place, that the woman cannot escape a man that she does not like, or maybe she's having a sexual relation with someone else. Then this means that that woman is not interested in the man she's married to. But Islam does not care for that. Because if a woman is committing adultery, then adultery is not just a simple thing. Extramarital affair is not a simple thing. And you cannot blame one of the partners in the marriage for an extramarital affair. Because usually it is the lack of attention and or the unhappiness in the marriage, or a forced marriage, that can lead to such things. But Islam does not care about that. So this is how stupid this religion is. And Mufti Tariq Masood is being trolled and cursed on his own YouTube channel because of this video, and on the Facebook page as well, because people are seeing that this is such a stupid thing. If you have to establish someone's parentage today, DNA test is there. You can go and get a DNA test, and you would know who the father is, and there shouldn't be any kind of problem like that. And if the woman is interested in someone else, she should get divorced and go with that man and get married to that, and raise the child that has been conceived with that person, raise it with that person. So that can happen, or whatever is the will of that woman. But Islam does not care about that. Islam is like, totally stupid in these things, and this is what happens all the time. And this is a stupid thing to do. And we have seen all of this happening in Islam again and again and again, and it just never stops. It just keeps going on and on and on. Islam has nothing to do with logic and anything else, science or these things.